Greetings and a warm welcome. How are we all feeling at the moment? Today we're working through catastrophizing and distress. And a lot of us do this, catastrophizing. We go around in circles and in cycles, and this is a problem, and it's more of a problem, and then it's more of a problem, until it's completely out of our control. And when we catastrophize, we make things a lot worse than they initially are, and that causes distress, emotional distress, mental distress. And it's just to the point where you become so overwhelmed that you can't deal with challenges. You find it difficult to practice strength and resilience, and it can be really, really tough. Because life is hectic, life is erratic, things are overwhelming, things happen, there's unforeseen circumstances, there's conflicts, there is always something going on in life. But the more you worry about it, the more you think about it, the more you stress about it, the less time you give yourself to relax and unwind and decompress, the more distressed you will feel. The more stressed, worried, anxious, you might be in a panic, you might feel overstimulated, overwhelmed to the point where you crash and burn and you can no longer function. And a lot of us catastrophize, we just don't always realize it because it becomes such a natural thought process that all we can think about is this problem and this problem and this problem. And the more we think about a problem, the more of a problem it becomes, because we define what a problem is. And we usually catastrophize that to a point where we become really distressed. And catastrophizing is actually a result of overthinking. Overthinking is stressing, worrying. It's actually to the point where you are putting yourself through the situation twice, where you don't give yourself a break. You're constantly going in cycles and cycles, and this is a problem and this is a problem, and you want to know every detail and you want to think about every scenario. And you know what? That comes at the cost of your inner peace. Overthinking comes at the cost of your inner peace, your motivation, your drive, your productivity. Procrastinating is a form of overthinking because you psych yourself out so much about doing the thing you need to do that instead of doing the thing you need to do, you think about it, and it becomes more unmanageable and more daunting and more stressful. And overthinking is really dangerous for the psyche. It's very, very unhealthy. It leads to emotional dysregulation, a lot of problems keeping yourself emotionally stable. Your cognitive processes are so destroyed and so unhealthy and so toxic that when you think about something to worry about, you fixate on it and you overthink it and you keep thinking about it until it becomes this massive limitation, this massive problem that it wasn't so intense in the first place. But because your mental processing was so stuck around it that emotionally it got worse, so mentally it got worse. And what also causes a lot of mental distress is mental clutter. When we accumulate old beliefs, old destructive patterns, old destructive behaviors, negative views about the past, trauma, childhood issues, then we fall more into overthinking about what happened in the past and how it's going to affect us now and how can we avoid it from happening again. And then we operate out of fear. And catastrophizing causes a lot of mental clutter, which means there's less space for you to grow, there's less space for you to expand, and you just pile up and pile up and pile up and pile up all of this toxicity into your mind. And when we catastrophize, we expect the worst case scenario. And the problem with that is the more you expect the worst, the more you manifest the worst, the more you think about the worst, up until the point that when the situation presents itself, you struggle to face it because you put yourself through the same situation twice, making it worse than it initially was in the first place. So stop expecting the worst, because the more you expect the worst, the more you attract it, the more you manifest it. So it's actually very dangerous to always expect the worst case scenario, because what happens when your expectations are met and the worst case scenario does happen? I'm not saying believe in the best case scenario. Think about the most constructive way to approach the situation. And that's what happens when we stress too much. When we don't have a lot of time and space to do something, we may struggle with overthinking, and this overthinking forces us to create those fake scenarios, to imagine, what if this person says this, and then this happens to me, and then I feel that way, and then I react in this way. And it just becomes this constant destructive cycle of panicked and fearful thinking. And catastrophizing and distress are also a result of self-doubt. When we doubt ourselves, when we become unsure of ourselves, we doubt our ability to deal with things, to deal with challenges. And that's what causes us to stress, because we doubt our abilities. And because we doubt our abilities, we overthink. What if I fail? What if I fail? What if I fail? What if I fail? What if I mess up? What if I embarrass myself? And that causes us to catastrophize and make the situation so much worse. So self-doubt is a major instigator of causing catastrophizing, overthinking, and mental distress. And we also self-sabotage as a result of catastrophizing, because we've already expected the worst case scenario. So therefore, subconsciously, we act out of the worst case scenario. And what does this do? This causes us to react, and that creates unfavorable outcomes, which causes us to overthink even more. How can I avoid this? How can I avoid this? How can I stop this? How can I... Until you become so distressed that you can no longer find a way to look at things in a constructive way, and you become very destructive. And we put enormous pressure on ourselves unnecessarily. We put so much pressure on ourselves when we overthink that we expect things to happen a specific way. And we really put ourselves down. We doubt ourselves. We stress ourselves out. And we think that there is more expected of us. We expect more of ourselves. And we expect ourselves to fail. And we put that pressure, and that pressure causes us to overthink more, procrastinate more, and catastrophize more. And the problem is with becoming overwhelmed and starting to catastrophize is that we tend to take on more than we can handle, and that causes us to become overwhelmed. If your plate is too full, you will overthink about, what about this? I haven't done this tomorrow, that on Friday, this on Monday. Where's your time to relax? Where's your time to preserve your inner peace? You lose your inner peace when you catastrophize and you stress yourself out. Remember, it's your perspective and your mindset and your approach on your problems, how you view your problems, how you approach your problems, how you deal with your problems will determine how they affect you. And now, catastrophizing is such a big thing because we really run ourselves into the ground with this one. That before we even get to the situation or the outcome or the circumstance, we have already told ourselves that we're going to fail and something bad is going to happen before it even happened. And this leads to a destructive, negative mindset. And what does that reinforce? More overthinking, more catastrophizing. And we become overwhelmed to the point that we can no longer function. All I can say to you is preserve your inner peace, give yourself a break, and stop doubting yourself. How can you relate? So remember, you are unique and valuable. Take care of that stunning person. Stay strong wherever you're from. You are worthy.